Our summer video series continues. Number 3 on our countdown of the top 5 newcomers in 2017 is a transfer. We don't do this often. We talk about, I know, the NDSU's changing things up for the second straight year, a high-profile transfer. Last year was Jackson Kuntz from Southern Methodist, who turned into a great season at punter. Now they go to a skill position, Jeff, and Desmond Cain from the University of Illinois will transfer, and he'll be eligible this fall for North Dakota State. He played 2 years with the Fighting Illini. His freshman year was dynamic, having over 50 receptions, one of the best freshmen in the Big Ten. Last year, hampered by injuries, he only played 5 games a season ago. He and new head coach Lovie Smith, I don't think, saw eye to eye with what was going to happen with the Illini passing game. Okay, so every Bison fan will say, okay, well, we got a Big Ten receiver coming. He's going to be really good. What say you about Mr. Cain?
Well, you know me and transfers. I think this guy potentially could be a pretty dynamic player. He's got some credentials that a lot of transfers haven't had over the years that have come to NDSU. You got to remember, most of the transfers you see are like Kelly from Bemidji State.
Yeah,
or you got
Jeremy
some
Kelly,
guys like that.
Yep.
This guy, though, he had 10 catches against Ohio State.
Yeah.
He had a great freshman year. He went through 3 head coaches at Illinois.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's tough to where you fit in the mix, what's the philosophy. And that injury thing, I think, really hampered him as far as the new head coach, Lovie Smith.
He told us back in April when the announcement was made that he's fully healthy and ready to go. And I already think new defensive coach Buddha Williams was really instrumental in this. That's his neck of the woods is Illinois, where Buddha was an assistant at Eastern Illinois, along with the University of Illinois, before he got to North Dakota State. You look at the history of FBS transfers, and obviously we mentioned Jackson Kuntz. King Frazier, that worked out pretty well for them. Ryan Jastrom, I believe, was New Mexico State when he transferred to come to NDSU. You already pumped the brakes with me on Sean Engel. Do you have to pump the brakes here with this guy? Now, he's got FBS Big Ten experience.
Not as much, no, because like I say, he's done it on the big field. And what I like about him is he's got that it looks like he's very composed out there if you look at those highlights. Very fluid with his motions, doesn't waste a lot of energy, I think, when he's running routes. You remember, this guy's a winner. He was on 2 Class 5A state championship teams in the state of Florida.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, they play pretty good football in Florida.
5'11", 185. What does that tell you about where you think you'd see him line up? Are we saying he's a slot guy probably more than an outside burner?
But you got to remember, he was playing on the outside on some of those highlights. So
was.
I think he has the speed to really get out and play really well in that part of the offense. So I think he has a chance to really make, and they're looking for a difference maker too.
I think so too. That was the one thing about the Bison offense the first half of last year as opposed to the second half, Jeff. And I don't know how much Easton Stick's back injury had to do with it, but they were really explosive in the passing game through the first 5-6 games of the season. And then it vanished.
Well,
it was not there.
You need depth. Again, you can't just go to RJ and
Darius Shepard.
You just can't go to those two and say, okay, you guys do it all year. You need good 4, 5, 6 guys, and because you get hurt too. I mean, you go across the middle.
Correct.
You get dinged in your shoulder or whatever. But so I think I think the door is open for a guy like this.
You would say maybe, and I'll ask you this, is this wide receiver the one spot maybe in the whole D1 era where depth has been an issue? We go back to the championship teams where Ryan Smith would get hurt or Zach Vraw would get hurt. You wonder, okay, if Kerry Woods was going to step up or Andrew Oakland was going to step up during those early years in 2012 and 2013 of who's going to be the guy when one of those guys got hurt. And now, possibly if Engel's good and if Cain is ready to go, then you have Dimitri Williams. You've got Dallas Freeman in the bullpen. They've got 6 guys, theoretically, going into the fall that they could play on a Saturday.
Part of that issue, though, could be in the recruiting of these kids because NDSU is a running offense. It's got that reputation of being a power offense. So other coaches go, why would you go to NDSU? Because all they do is run the ball. So maybe Carson Wentz and his notoriety maybe has helped erase that a little bit.
I would say on all the highlight reels of Carson Wentz was R.J. Urzendowski catching the pass against South Dakota State or against Illinois State in the national championship. For any wide receiver that would want to come, they still do throw the football. Really interesting guy that I know Kolpak and I will be watching, and I know many of you will as well when he gets to fall camp, is Desmond Cain. He's number 3 on our list of the newcomers for 2017.